Hi and welcome to this week's BookLab report. And in this video I'm going to focus on the future, 2024, and the reading list that I'm building there, why these books are selected for me to read and how they relate to my reading goals, and hopefully you can find some books that you might want to add to your reading list. But first, fix this, because we're going to Varberg, my hometown, to meet with friends and family and celebrate Christmas. So that's gonna be good. This is a quite nice morning. Not that much snow, but look at this. All right, Christmas has passed. Way too much drinking, no reading at all. But I've started my plans for the reading year of 2024. It's quite sparse now. I'm gonna go out on X as well and just ask people what was their favorite books from last year, so maybe we can pick some of that. But I've added a few interesting books to the list. I'm starting to get kind of a vision for what I want to learn about and what I want to explore more, so I think it's gonna be a good year. I'm really looking forward to getting back to Stockholm. Stop drinking every day, stop eating so much all the time, and get back into my regular pace and regular habits and routines. That's going to be awesome. But I guess you need a period like this to get kind of a reset. So this is the process that I do every year. I keep a list on my phone with all the recommendations that I get throughout the years. Feel like I got a lot more when I was on Instagram before, but now it has been more sparse for some reason as I moved to more to doing YouTube, because I really enjoy that, and on X, and I also don't consume as much content anymore for just the time reasons, so I don't get that much inspiration as I did before. So I feel like this year was a bit slow, but I keep a list. I add all the recommendations to there, and by the end of the year, like now, this is actually New Year's Eve, I start to finalize my list. So then I pick something on my reading list and add them to my planned reading for 2024. I used to keep it a 50-50 split. Well, I go into more on exactly how I do this list in another video that I can link to in the description below. It's how to create an inspiring reading list. And it's a mix of books that I just want to read on random topics, and it's also just topics that I want to learn about, and maybe not a specific book yet because I haven't done the research. So on my list this year is, first off, I'm going to go through this pretty quickly. Elon Musk by Walter Isaacson. I love Walter Isaacson biographies. They are some of my favorite. I have a few up here. No, not on that end. It's on the other end. Over there, like Benjamin Franklin, Einstein, Steve Jobs, and the Elon Musk biography is something that I want to read, but I don't feel like it's very urgent because I've already read the old biography. But I still want to get through it. It's so thick, so it's a bit intimidating. And I got the Power of Meaning, Crafting a Life That Matters, that was recommended to me by someone. It's Eric Michaels on Twitter. I try to save all the references so I can give a shout out to people that recommend me great books. Another book that I have on the list is A History of Fake Things on the Internet. It's one of the books that came out of my series that I do every month. I break down all the new releases every year, every month. So I'm going to put out one for January very soon. Just like, these are the highlights. If you're interested in human nature, these are the books that you should look out for, because they seems to be very interesting. It's also very hard to find new releases online. It's quite tricky to know what's coming out, so I enjoy doing that. And that put this book on the list, which is called A History of Fake Things on the Internet. It's a history of fake things on the internet, and also interviews with people who spread fake things and create these fake things. And I think it also goes into the psychology behind that, the conspiracy theories and just general mischief on the internet. And that sounded like a really fun palate cleanser book to read from these computer science people. After that, number 4 here on my list is I Don't Want to Talk About It, Overcoming the Secret Legacy of Male Depression. I think this was from, I won't remember what book it was from, but it sounded very interesting. It's not available on audiobook, so that's always a hustle because I tend to read mostly audiobooks and listen to them because of, sometimes it's hard to find a good time to sit down with the real books and enjoy them when you have kids and life and jobs and everything. So audiobooks are much more accessible to me, but I really want to read that book. It sounds interesting. I also added Tufti the Priestess, and it's probably the hardest one to justify right now, but if you've seen my channel, I kind of enjoy the idea of creating your own reality, which is absolutely pseudoscience, but I also think it's have some mindsets that really help out, and it's have worked well for me before. And this is from what's it called, Vadim Leland or something. He wrote the book Reality Transurfing, and I've heard about this book. It sounds like the reality slash manifestation idea, but it turned in a novel form, so it's more of a story. And it's been on my list for a while, so I really want to get to that. And here's another one, number 6, War and Peace by Leo Tolstoy. Just one of the great books, according to so many people that I trust a lot, but it's also thick as a brick. It's been on the list before. I've never gotten to it. Hopefully this year I will take the time to actually enjoy that. I know I would love a book like that. I don't know what it's about even, but I want to read it. A Billion Wicked Thoughts. I've been posting about this on Twitter, like my takeaways. I've done a lot of highlighting in this book. It was recommended. I saw it mentioned in a YouTube video I watched, and I just thought this is definitely something that I want to read. What the Internet Tells Us About Sexual Relationships. It's a book where the authors have gotten access to a lot of data from pornographic sites and they kind of lay out the difference between cultures, between male and female interests. And the reason this book is so interesting to me is because doing research around sexual desire is really hard, because people tend to lie or don't share like the worst bits of themselves, so to speak, because of all the taboos around the subject. So getting this raw data from people's internet searches tells us a lot about human desire. I really recommend it. I'm halfway through, and I think this is already a contender for Book of the Year in next year, 2024. I also started this book, 6 Easy Pieces by Richard Feynman. Essentials of Physics Explained by its Most Brilliant Teacher. This is one of the books that I picked up thanks to the Almanac of Naval Ravikant, which encouraged me to learn more about the fundamentals of physics. Physics is one of those things that are quite fundamental. I never really studied any real physics, or not that much math in school, so I'm catching up. Another book on the list is the Bible or the Quran. I have King James Bible in my bookshelf, but I haven't taken it on. It's also intimidating. I looked at the audiobook version of the Bible, and it was 99 hours. So I would like to read it, but it will take me such a long time that I don't know. Quran, much shorter, but I think I would be more interested in reading the Bible first for some reason. Maybe it's just cultural, because Sweden is traditionally like based on Christian values. But the Quran, yes, I want to read that too. Then I have some placeholders, and that gets into kind of how I design my reading list. I have a biography. I want to read biographies, I know, but I haven't really figured out which one. I got some ideas yesterday. What was it? I got interrupted there by a call. The Wright Brothers is something that I might consider reading as a biography. The Fabric of Reality is another one. I really enjoyed The Beginning of Infinity by David Deutsch. So I want to read, of course, his follow-up. This was also on my Book of the Year list for 2023. So even though I felt quite exhausted after reading this, I feel like I've built up the stamina now to take on another one of his books and really study these subjects. I added Think Again by Adam Grant to the list, which I'm reading through the book club. It's about the value of reevaluating your beliefs, updating information as it comes. It's easy to feel like it's a bad thing to change your mind, because then you have to admit that you are wrong, right? But every time you do, you get a little bit closer to the truth, hopefully. And it's about having that flexible mindset of, as you get more information, as you stay curious, you can update your belief, and that way you get closer to the truth, hopefully, or at least get more nuanced opinions. It's a pretty good book, actually. It's one of those pretty light non-fiction reads, if you compare to something like The Fabric of Reality, The Beginning of Infinity, or a book such as Determined by Robert Sapolsky was a really heavy read, but paid off immensely. It's nice to have those lighter reads sometimes. I also have The Heart and the Ship. This book was added yesterday because I was looking through the release schedule for all of 2024, focusing on January, but this one is out in May, I think, but it's about the robotics and what it can do for humanity. And after seeing the new Tesla robot, and also contemplating the combination of AI that we see now with actual physical bodies, that's what robotics would be, has some interesting implications on the future. What will happen when robots and those like large language models and such technologies gets combined, when AIs get eyes, hands, and can like take action in the world. So that's something I want to study. I don't know much about the book, but I put it on the list. And another one, the last one that is officially added, book number 15, is Slow Productivity by Cal Newport. Cal Newport, I love and hate him. I really like Deep Work. When I read it back in the days, it has helped me immensely. But I also read his book, So Good You Can't Ignore It, and I felt like it was kind of a book for young people and didn't apply to me that much. So it's a bit of a hidden miss, but he's also one of the like key people when it comes to productivity and such stuff, and it interests me. I also have an entry for reading up on autism, so if you have any book recommendations on that topic. I studied ADHD and that order of the spectrum, but I wanted to read up some on autism as well. So if you have any tips on there, that I would like to hear about it. On my list, I wrote maybe Unmasking Autism or Neurotribes. That's kind of the list so far, and I tend to read like 30, 35, 40 books a year, so I try to keep about 50% open, just for things that pop up during the year. But I like to have a plan as well for some topics that I really want to study, like so I don't just go with the whims all the way through the year, because then I don't reach my reading goals of like reading some classics each year, taking on some of the more intimidating books. So having a reading list, helps me keep on track. So let me know in the comments how you structure your reading list, and share some of your books that you really want to read in 2024. It would be super interesting to hear about that. And if you enjoy the content here, I know our videos are quite chaotic. I do more structured reviews and stuff as well. I think the next review will be Determined by Robert Sapolsky, which I already praised, but I haven't reviewed it yet. And there's a bunch of other reviews coming up. But if you like the content here, then give a super like, subscribe, and that will make sure that when I put up a new video, it will pop up in your feed. Happy reading, and see you in a bit.